good, or there's not a big crowd here in Ponderosa. They fed off their crowd against Regis, but here tonight, man, they just look a little slow.
Roach on the serve, handled by Morton, but she sent a free ball over, and right there to kill it was Tristyn Sells.
Yeah, Sells saw that and it looked like a watermelon coming over the net.
So Morton will sub out for her sister Morton to come into the back row. This one up off the top of the block. Joust up at the net as Severson was just able to force that one onto the other side. 6-4 in favor of the Grizzlies after winning game one, 25-18. We play best out of 5. If we make it to a game number 5, it's first to 15, win by 2.
That's a bad word if you're a Grizzly fan. You don't want to go 5. As that point goes long, the Grizzlies now have a 3-point lead. Again, they're playing pretty well. They need to keep this going. If you're Coach Kirsta Paul, you like the way your team has come out here in game number 2.
And service here from Theobald. Dug up there by Smith onto the far side, and that one will drop down for Elise Leach.
Yeah, that was a nice executed play there by Ponderosa. I like the fake, and I like the fact that Leach got involved there and was able to get the point.
Well, if you're the Grizzlies, looking back on this 5-match skid, during that course, they never lost both 1 and 2. So you got to think if they win both of these, they'll be feeling pretty good about themselves. Back set onto the far side, and a big-time kill right there from Caitlin Wilson, the 5'10 sophomore.
Yeah, that was great elevation there and great timing because she got all of that one.
Big-time play right there from the sophomore, and a lot of sophomores see 5 on this varsity roster for Coach Paul, and that's something a couple years from now could make for a very dominating team. Howard onto the far side for Leach and gets that one into the block, but out of bounds, so point for the Mustangs.
I'm wondering if Coach Graham heard me from up here saying you got to get Leach involved. She's gotten more touches, I think, here in game number 2 than she did all of game number 1.
And now serving, this is Izzy Schneier, the sophomore, not typically a varsity player, but is up and dressed today, so good for her to get in. Sends that serve over Meredith off the top of the net, out of bounds, point for the Mustangs. Izzy sends this one over again on the outside, just tipped over, and Smith's right there on the outside to punch it over again. Meredith set onto the near side, a big hit right there again. A beautiful one from Tristyn Sells. She's showing off some power here in game number 2.
Yeah, I like her game. She has a little anger towards that ball. Puts a little charge in it.
So it looks like a substitution as Weaver will come to the game, sending Madison Meredith to the bench. And the service from Sells. Back set by Page, and on the outside that will drop down, a nice cross-court hit from Natalie Peppercorn. So Peppercorn subs out, and right back into the game is Marissa Gibbons. Morton on the serve, dug up there by Spady. Roach has it on a kill, and she pounded that one right through several Ponderosa players. So 10-8 in favor of the Grizzlies. They just look like they have a little bit more fire than the Mustangs here in game number 2.
Well, they're definitely executing here in game number 2.
And the service from Didier on the far side, and Roach handles that one off the kill attempt from Smith. Roach will pop it over herself this time. And Howard on the far side for Smith, and this one will fall through a couple players, over the hands of one, under the hands of the other, and onto the floor for a point.
Yeah, that ball wasn't hit really hard. It looked like a knuckleball.
Definitely had a little bit of spin on it either way if both players missed above and below it. 10-9, chance for the Mustangs to tie it up here with a point. Roach sends this one over the block, and she says nothing doing with that. 2-point lead, 11-9. in favor of the Grizzlies.
Well, Roach showed great athleticism there. As the block was, there was a triple block. She elevated, she stayed up like Skywalker and got her fingernails on there and was able to get it just over the block.
It's one of the best things that one of those front row players can do is change the momentum up at the net. It's the equivalent of a change-up in baseball, and unable to be handled there on that service. Once again, the Mustangs just got a little too close to their bodies.
Yeah, that ball ate Kelly Morton all up, and unusual. She's usually, again, really solid on the defense. Service
from Spady. Dug up there by Smith. Howard sets on the far side for Smith, and Smith pounds it down. And it'll be 10-12 now, still in favor of the Grizzlies.
Yeah, that was nice. Again, that was power, good passing, good execution. Unfortunately for Ponderosa, hasn't been a lot of solid execution so far tonight, but again, this is only game 2.
And just like game number 1, this one has been very tight. Service from Smith, dug up by Spady. Set by Didier, and that one would be, yes, indeed, a point for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, that was Wilson, another sophomore. You talked about a lot of sophomores on this ThunderRidge squad. And she's got a nice pass from Melissa Didier, and then Wilson was able to finish.
And more than just sophomores getting in on the action. They're not just riding the bench here. Roach bump sets that one. Now on the near side for Sells, and Sells, did it go off a tip? No, it did not. So a point for the Mustangs.
It seems like ThunderRidge should have a bigger lead. I mean, I think they've really dominated here in game 2, but somehow you look up at the scoreboard and it's only a 2-point lead for them. So if you're Ponderosa, you have to feel pretty good because you haven't played great volleyball, but you have an opportunity here in game number 2.
Very good point. Unlike game number 1, where it really seemed neck and neck, this one seems to be clearly in the favor of ThunderRidge, but when you make mistakes just like that we saw right there, it helps keep the game very close. So that will send the service back over to the visiting Mustangs. And Marissa Gibbons, one of the freshmen on this Ponderosa team, will get the ace, dropping that one in front of Spady.
That's one way Ponderosa can get rhythm, take the lead, and pull away. Their serve, again, it's been pretty good this season.
Gibbons on the serve again. She goes straight down the middle. This one goes up into the rafters. It's still in play, and eventually will be free to ball over by ThunderRidge. Right down the middle, and Peppercorn couldn't quite snap the wrist through, so 14-13. And Gibbons will come off, and one of the freshmen on that Ponderosa team, she might be someone to watch 3 years from now. Howard onto the far side, and Leach will send that one right into the back row for Spady. Now Sells will go for it through the block and past the diving Morton, 15-13.
Well, Sells has done a really nice job, and the block is right there. That time she went just around it, but got enough power and angle to keep it inside the line.
And the service from Theobald off that top taping of the net. Drops back onto the ThunderRidge side, so 15-14, and still Ponderosa hanging right in. So Becca Page coming in to serve. Oh, excuse me. It's Reed Rackley coming in to serve for the Mustangs. Back set on the far side, Wilson. Rackley gets to it though. Morton back once again for Leach, and she can't get it through the block, but digs it out right there. Smith, Howard will just push it over, and now send the near side. Sells once again, can't get it through the block, and it just never came down cleanly for the Mustangs.
Yeah, she couldn't get it through the block, but she put, again, a lot of charge, a big power swing on that one, and Ponderosa unable to handle it cleanly.
Ponderosa looked like they set that block up just a little bit deep, couldn't get their fingertips over the net, and that's why that ball dropped back onto their side. 16-14 in favor of the Grizzlies.